You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by Referral Mortgages and Blue Panda Realty, with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate in our nation's capital.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week.
Good day.
My name is Paul Stevenson. I am here with Greg Campbell and David Warren. I am one of the owners and a mortgage agent at Referral Mortgages. David is also an owner at Referral Mortgages and an expert mortgage agent. And Mr. Greg Campbell is here. He's a partner and a realtor over at Blue Panda Realty. We want to take a second and just give a quick shout out to our coffee sponsor as well, North Brew. Go to northbrew.ca and use the promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off your coffee order. Almost missed that one. No. And coffee. Monday, it's Monday, Tuesday, whenever you're listening. Coffee is delicious. Coffee is needed. We're here in Snowmageddon, gentlemen. How are you surviving over there?
It's good.
Down in the basement. Hunkered in the basement.
Yeah. Dave's window's just filled with snow, if anyone can see. He's just hunkered down.
I really wanted to get into the office today after being away at the cottage for so long, but Snowmageddon, as you said.
Yeah, Greg, you promised studio. There's going to be some disappointed listeners. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
We should say as well, for anyone who didn't listen last week, that another thank you to our listeners and viewers, depending on how you're watching this, taking it in. We were nominated for Podcast of the Year, gentlemen, in 2021, which is amazing. And
when did the results come in?
Thank you. January 31st is the last day of voting.
When do we win, Greg? When do we win? That's
when do we win?
Question.
So if you go to Faces, if you look at Faces magazine, the Ottawa Awards, you can vote once per day, and the voting ends January 31st. And awesome.
If we win that, that's craziness. Yeah, but I mean, amazing.
Speaking of craziness. Greg, tell us about your voyage to the cottage. You've been out of the city for a minute.
No. I don't need to talk about that. Let's get into it. I want to thank the people for asking us questions on the YouTube channel and reviewing my responses. I love it. It's great because they're always great questions, and it's everyone has opinions, right? So it's I'm just happy that we have that interaction. I want to see more of it, and I also want to see people writing reviews for us, please. Apple, Spotify, whatever. Write us some reviews. 5-star only.
Greg, were there any? I know there was a lot of comments and questions this week. Were there any that jumped out at you I'm
trying to remember, man.
I'm throwing you on the spot here.
Yeah,
people are really hating on the inflation discussion, and also want us to raise rates. They think rates need to go up, which we will touch on today. So that is certainly a hot topic. And inflation. That's kind of where
rates and inflation. Yeah,
there's kind of a disagreement on the supply. The fact that there's still a massive supply issue. Truckers now not being able to cross the border for if they're not vaccinated, that's going to cause some further supply issues. So it'll be interesting to see what the coming months have in store for us.
Let's talk about rates here quickly, just before we do anything else. I want to know what you guys think here. I mean, we talk about it, but for the rate increase to actually truly affect anything, how high does that have to be?
So I think what people forget is that pandemic hit March of 2020, February of 2020, the typical 5-year fixed rate with like a TD, Scotia, whatever, maybe CIBC, Major 6, they're around 3.29, 3.49 was your average 5-year fixed rate right before the pandemic hit, and the rates plummeted. We're still not even there yet. And the housing market, if you remember, when we were even talking about it then, was busy back then pre-pandemic. Yep. There were still bidding wars. There was still a lack of supply, and the rates were in the mid threes. Prime was 1.5, 1.75 higher than where it is now. I think it was 3.9 as bank prime. So, there's a lot of runway, and we still had housing supply issues. We weren't getting the same gains in home prices, but who would have said, who knows? Like that could have, that is, it's not always going to be at 20% like it was at, the one in 2020, things like that. But I think it does, I think for rates where they need to be I don't know, even another 0.5% on fixed rates higher, it's still only going to be at what it was, or even not even at what it was pre-pandemic.
There's also
exactly.
There's two things to consider here too. One is the Bank of Canada's prime lending rate, which is kind of that overnight rate that they have. And then there's also the actual bank's prime lending rate. So those are two different things. People often assume like, oh, if prime's going up, then it's across the board. Typically, when the Bank of Canada's prime goes up, the banks will also follow suit. So if the Bank of Canada increases their lending rate by, say, 0.25%, the banks then have the choice. Well, do we want to also raise our rates by 0.25%, or do we want to keep them where they are? And we've seen typically they always take that opportunity. Same thing. If the Bank of Canada lowers rates, the banks also have the choice. Well, do we want to lower our rate further than it already is, our prime lending rate, or do we want to keep it where it is? And so that's something that, I don't think people understand it. There's two different rates that kind of need to move here. Typically they move together. The other thing to consider is that, from a qualifying standpoint or purchasing power, like people are still qualifying on the stress test rate, right? At over 5%. So, from a qualifying standpoint, whether, rates are at 1 and 1.45 or 3.45, they're still qualifying currently at that, 5.25. So, as far as who's buying homes, I personally don't think it might change the, what's the word I'm looking for? It might balance the pricing out slightly, but I don't think it's going to change who's buying homes and what they're qualifying for.
It's going to remove a lot of the investors from the market is what it's going to do. Because right now, there's definitely been an uptick, a significant uptick, and there's a lot of numbers around that through the pandemic with rates being where they're at, that's been driving a lot of the market because of investors, equity being built up in homes, being able to tap into that, rates being low, meaning that you can carry a property for less. Not qualifying is still the same, but you can carry the property for lesser cost because the mortgage rate is lower. So the rent, buying a property at $800,000 with the rate being lower would be as if you're buying at $600,000 maybe. So it allows you to buy a higher priced property and still be able to break even or make it make sense as an investor or cash flow even.
Especially if rents are going up too, right? Because then your spread is much higher on that investment property.
Yeah. So but then exactly that, as rates go up and as the cost of borrowing goes up, so will rents go up as well, because no matter what, the investor still needs to, be able to balance it out, at least break even on that property. But I think what it will do as rates go up, there'll be less investors buying multiple properties, which people looking for owner occupied properties, well, there'll be more supply there. And on the flip side, there'll be less rentals. So rental rates might go up. I mean, it's all a balancing act. I think right now the home prices have been going up, driven a lot by those investors.
So as an investor, if, you're saying investors buying less properties. So with the rates going up, an investor, to do it, I guess, the smarter way where you can kind of make sense of it, you'd have to put more of a down payment on the property so that the actual loan
cash flows
made sense with the, with the interest rate plus the rent. Yeah. So you're saying so instead of going out and buying two properties, someone might buy one and put down, $500,000 on one property or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
And tying up the money in there.
Or even beyond that, it becomes, what's the opportunity cost? I could get that one property, put 500,000 down. What's my rate of return going to be? Or am I going to put it in something else instead, not in the real estate market, because I can maybe get a better gain in the equities market or the crypto market or the bond market or whatever it may be, right? People just look at diversifying. Like real estate is just a different asset class for investment diversification.
I think also too, investors specifically, they're buying homes with the expectation that they're going to have that break even as well from a rental offset. Whereas I think in years past, if you bought an investment property, there's kind of the expectation that you might have to put some of your skin in the game every month, whether it be 300, 500, whatever. So we might see that balance out a bit too, David, where people buying those investment properties might need to put that extra couple hundred a month in themselves into that investment, as opposed to having it carry itself, which we've been seeing for 3 to 5 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think most people, when they buy a rental property, they expect to get rent that's higher than the mortgage payment, which I think in the past was not necessarily the case. You kind of be like, okay, well, this is a good offset. We only have to put 500 into this instead of 1,500. So it'll be interesting to see how that shifts as well with the rental prices going up or down and investors buying or exiting the market, as Dave was mentioning.
I will say, everyone, this is being released on Tuesday, the 18th. Over the weekend, there were a number of banks, even this morning, indicating that they're going to be raising their fixed rates over the next couple of days, like today, tomorrow. We're Monday right now, but over the next couple of days. So we'll see where that goes. Again, that's the fixed rate that's moving, not the variable rate. Bank of Canada has not increased prime. Prime is still where it is. Variable rates are still where they're at. The spread between fixed and variable is just even that much more. It's, it really perplexes me when anyone asks about fixed rates, when the spread, we talked about it before and we've kind of talked ad nauseum, but even now it's becoming even greater than 6 times. Like, so you need more than 6 increases in prime for the variable rate to catch up to the fixed. And that spread is only increasing. So,
and some people are saying, like we had that article earlier that was saying, now they're saying it went from 8 to 11 down to now expected 6 increases. And the Bank of Canada is still saying, we can't do that. Like, there's other factors involved that, maybe these people that are writing these articles don't fully understand what impact those sorts of increases have on everything. So it's not as cut and dry as just, well, let's bump it up 0.5% and see what happens. There's a lot of dice that or a lot of dominoes that fall when that sort of thing happens, and good or bad. I mean, there's a lot of implications. It's not just a simple, let's increase mortgage rates to balance out the market. There's many more moving parts to it than that.
And it's not just the real estate market that comes into play. Like, you raise, we've got inflation that's all consumer goods, but then also you raise rates too quickly, prime too quickly. It also then makes exports to other countries less interesting. And so that decreases our export business or international investments in Canada, things like that really drive our economy too. So people
unsecured lending too, right? Anything that's based on prime, like lines of credit and all that would increase as well, because it's all based on prime plus X amount. So if prime goes up, the interest on all of your credit products goes up as well.
Yeah, it's something where I find it funny that people would even comment saying that they want interest rates to increase. It's like, because it might slow down the market a little bit from a real estate perspective only, but all of your other borrowing costs go up. Like your monthly cash flow decreases. So like whether it's student lines of credit, student loans, your unsecured lines of credit, mortgages, they're all affected. So it'll be car loans, right now they're low, like the rates will just increase accordingly as well.
Everything, the cost of everything.
Yeah. In addition to right now, and the cost of everything have an increase. So
if companies need to borrow more money to get you your goods, then they're going to pass that off to you. Like, it's going to increase the cost of everything. So it's not actually going to, there's a lot of things involved here. Speaking of skyrocketing, Gregory, I'd love to get into some of I saw some headlines this week, 39 offers on a home in Ajax. Dave, you were talking about 92 showings in Oxford Mills, which is near like Campbell, like like an hour out of Ottawa.
This
92 showings.
This will come out after the listing date, so I'll find out for next show what it went at. But a realtor friend of mine,
houses are buzzing.
Yeah, he's got 92 showings on a property in Oxford Mills over the weekend. Offer dates today, Monday. So we'll see for next week's episode how much it went for over. But yeah, Oxford Mills. I had to pull up Google Maps. I had no idea where that is. Heard of it.
I'm sure you guys have also seen, Greg, I'll let you go after this because I know you got some stats for us that I'm sure people are waiting to hear, but I'm sure people saw on social media that I think it was Vaughan Mills. They had, 2 years or 18 months ago, 750,000 today, like 1.6 million or something. It was like a recent sale. And then I commented, a buddy of mine posted it, and I said, it's actually, if you look at the date, it's actually like July of 2019. So it's like pre-pandemic. It's actually like 2.5 years, not 18 months. And it's in an area that's been developed, like literally tripled in size in the last 2 years. So, I mean, there's a few factors in there. So yes, it's wild that it's doubled in value, but also, the area has tripled in size. We had COVID, which drove prices up. Supplies were down. Like, there's so many factors. So it's, yes.
You mean, Paul, you mean a meme?
amazing.
A meme wasn't accurate?
Yeah. The troll farms have got me again, you know.
I got
give
some
us the
numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. So before you bring up that slide there, this is something that I should have done as well, just so everyone could see, but everyone's listening. So right now, in the first 2 weeks of the year, so that right now there's 13. Excuse me. Starting over again. There's been, in the last 2 weeks, there's been 414 sales. There's 164 conditionally sold right now, and there's 807 active homes. And there's 712 total for rent active right now. So that's similar to what I was saying last week, but the 712 total for rent still blows my mind. A lot of those have been on the market for a while, and they, some of them are dropping in price. But we're back to seeing, in terms of the market, I think, Stephen, you can bring that up now. And I've been feet on the ground the last couple of days. So that's Orleans first, right? Let me just bring this up again here. It disappeared on me. So
I can read it out if you want, Craig.
No, I got it. So Orleans, we've got only 2 active homes. This is as of this morning. So we got two active townhomes between 400 and 700K. Let me add that the 400K is obviously an unreserved auction sale. So that's why the numbers are skewed there so much. There's been 19 sold between 400,000 and 780 since January 1st. Average list price is 615. Average sales price is 667. Last week, the average sales price in Orleans was 650. So that shows you that that's already up an additional 17,000 based on these numbers. Average days on market 12. And the average days on market 12, I think, is partially because of auctions as well, because they stay on longer. So currently one conditional sale at 699. What do you got there next? Barhaven?
And for anyone who's listening, if you go to YouTube, you can actually see Greg's got nice visuals here that he's going through. So if you want to actually see the numbers, instead of writing them down yourself.
Good point, Paul. Good point. Good point. So Barhaven, townhomes, 9 active between 500 and 650. 7 have sold between 550 and 800 since January 1st. Average list price 632. Average sales price 696. Wow. Average days on market 6. Currently 2 conditional sales averaging 690. So conditional sales about the same as Orleans.
Townhomes. These are townhomes.
These are townhomes.
It's like 675 right now is the average in Ottawa. It looks
and most of them 3-bedroom townhomes. Most of them 3 bedrooms. So let's get into the next one for Canada Stittsville. I should have added Riverside South to the Barhaven one. Sorry about that, guys, but maybe for next week, because I think I should be doing this weekly so everybody can see the consistency of what's happening here. Townhomes, Canada Stittsville, 9 active between 575 and 725. 11 sold between 550 and 800K since January 1st. Average list price 676. Average sales price 725. Average days on market 6 days. Currently 1 conditional sale, again 699. So the market is hot. I know that there was a 3-bedroom town in Canada Lakes that sold for 735 over the weekend. Anyway, so I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know how much it's going to keep going up. The average, the sales price list to sales ratio is 108% basically across the board. I know some buyers are getting nervous. Like the people that I'm working with are a little bit nervous, but all we can do is just, keep moving forward. And, when you're ready to submit those offers, I will say that I was out this weekend on Sunday. And from the time I started booking showings on Friday, there was, I think we had 9 listings that we could see. And then by yesterday, I think we saw 4 because the other ones got preemptive offers and were sold by the time that we headed out on Sunday.
Great time to sell right now.
Great time to sell.
Yeah. I think there's something in there that's interesting though, Greg, that you alluded to is, and I was talking to somebody else over the weekend about it, is the buyer fatigue. We gave you a window in the fall of last year of when to buy. Those of you that didn't listen to Torup and take our advice, but what ends up happening right now, and it becomes challenging, I know, for people like yourself, Greg, for realtors, is that your buyers are out shopping, trying to put offers, get tired and soured by the market because they lose out, and then they get fatigued. And even when it becomes a good opportunity to buy, maybe later in the year when more supply comes, they're fatigued from the experience prior in the year, that they just think this is ongoing and continuing, and they don't want to even bother anymore. And they kind of miss out on those windows. How do you, as a realtor that really likes to engage with your clients regularly, like how do you keep them from getting too fatigued and kind of in that continuous process?
It's not easy. Like you just have to keep them motivated, and it's a learning process though too, because some people I was working with at the end of the year, first time buyers again, and the importance of having the finance clause was key to them, and key to their broker as well, whoever that may have been. And although we know the market, when it started picking up a little bit towards the end of last year, and we went in and almost everyone I went in with, we lost, and we lost one or two before the Christmas break, and there was nothing up. And so now they're seeing this, and now they're kind of like, shit, we should have listened to you back then. And not so much listen to me. Like I don't say, I just give the advice. I say, this is what you're going to need to do to get this, but I understand if you're not comfortable doing that, and then I also I said, as we go on, each one we lost, I'm like, as we go on, you'll start to understand more. So now I'm working with people and I'm telling them, I'm like, look, you can either keep going for what you want, or you can maybe downgrade a bit, and then you can get something a little bit smaller for now to get in the market for a couple of years. You'll keep money in your pocket, and then you can move forward later. I also make the suggestion that, maybe the smaller home, it'll be easier to sell later as well, because the prices won't be as inflated. I mean, it's just a hypothetical, but historically it's kind of how it'll work. So, I mean, it's just motivation. Like I try to keep everybody hype, and they usually thank me for it. They're like, oh, thanks, for keeping me motivated and everything. But like you said, some people last year, they just, they dipped when we told them not to dip, and they missed the window where you could have that financing condition and you could have that inspection condition, no problem. The one thing that I do hate right now is that, and I'm a big believer in this, is that every single listing that I've seen come out, none of them have had pre-inspections, none. And so we're back to people buying with no inspection, no financing. Again, mostly I stick kind of in the townhome realm because that's the most popular price point in the city, but no pre-inspections. Like I'm kind of pissed that realtors aren't doing that, because it's a benefit to help
big
the
stuff
buyers
stamp.
be confident. It's not cool, but you don't want to spend the $500. Sure. The seller should spend that money anyways.
I was going to say that's the cheap realtor. That's the realtor not only not doing their job, but also being everybody's exceptionally cheap on it. Like if you're going to list like that, you should be providing that. Like
especially in a market like this where you're going to get 100 eyes on it, right?
Yeah, the numbers. It's basically 50,000 over list, and you're not going to spend with taxes $565 for a home inspection just to make the buyer coming in a little bit more confident. I mean, it's weird to me, but everybody's got their own way of doing things. I don't know.
With how competitive the market is right now, Greg, are you seeing more agents also double ending, like bringing in their own clients?
No. And the thing is, with a lot of people, that it may seem like a double end, it would be somebody else on their team or in their brokerage. But I mean, usually what happens is, when there's multiple offers, we send out emails to all the agents, so everyone's aware how many offers have come in. And there'll usually be a post saying, none are from my office, none are from my team.
Right.
Just to let everyone know. And then they'll also say, and there will not be a commission discount. So if they're double ending at the same commission split that they'd be offering the buyer, just so it's an even playing field. Yeah. People think, double ending, it can be a little bit sketchy. Like I said, I don't do it at all, but some people still do, but I haven't been paying that close attention to all the deals, but most of them that I have looked at are sold by other buyer brokerages.
Yeah. I think it would be, when would they be, or have you heard word from the board of when they're maybe going to institute some of those rules that they alluded to last year of, removing the double ending and stuff like that, or mandatory finance clause?
Yeah, I haven't read anything about that recently. Okay. I'm sure it's going to come out in the next couple months, but whenever it comes into effect, who knows?
I guess the more I guess it probably went away because the election ended and the market was a little bit cooler, a little bit softer. But I imagine now with it, being, if it's, as busy a market right now as it will be for the next, foreseeable future, that maybe it'll pick up more steam again.
Be interesting what impact if they added a mandatory 10-day financing clause to every offer, how that would impact the market.
You know what? But it hasn't impacted in Quebec. That's what it is in Quebec, and Montreal has a booming market as well. And it gives you that.
It should be there.
Assurance.
It should be there.
People thinking that it's not, that it's going to slow down prices or slow the market. I think it doesn't, because you still have, you might have turnover of properties going back on the market because of people not being qualified or putting in offers where they're maybe not pre-approved or not set up or qualified to even put that offer in. Maybe you get those people submitting, but by and large, I mean, you look at the Montreal market, and it's always been a very strong market, and you still have those clauses in Quebec of a mandatory finance and home inspection clause for 10 business days.
It should be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should absolutely have that. Yesterday.
So we're mid-January now. It's already been, we're over halfway through the first month of 2022. So what are we thinking? What's the spring shaking up to do here? All things considered. Schools were supposed to open today. Okay. Sports are supposed to be starting up. Yes. Sports are supposed to be starting up again end of the month. So we got a little bit of, spring normalcy coming back.
We still have a huge lack of inventory.
Yeah.
And people should be selling their homes, but I also still think that there's a little bit of fear because where are they going to go?
Oxford Mills.
No, you got 100 eyes on it over a weekend. You're not going to Oxford Mills.
That's true.
That's what I wanted to tell you. So on top of that Oxford Mills listing, so I don't know, you guys are probably familiar with Taffy Lane in Orleans. Anybody that's familiar with Ottawa, the street's all lit up at Christmas time. They put on a big show.
We had a client by there last
around
year.
The block.
It's lit.
Anyway, so there's a 4-bedroom single that is decent. I went and saw it the other day. The layout's great. There's some things that you could do to make it amazing, but it's basically original. So 1976, it's basically original. It's on for $400,000. And I think they've probably had over 150 showings on it.
Is that unreserved?
No,
oh.
No, it's with Pilon. And anyways, the offers are tonight. So
I mean, the comp's got to be 900.
No, the comps, like the last sales,
maybe?
I sold one. We did a deal there, Paul, last year, and I think it was 6. So like they've been selling for 625. So this at 4 needing a full reno, I'm kind of like, it needs like a 250 reno easy more. So to bring it up to, I don't know. It could be worth 7 though, because it would be all completely new modern finish, 7 or maybe even more. But I mean, I don't know. I'm anxious to see. So next week, I'll tell you.
Now, the question
good location.
Do buyers take into account the fact that they're also going to need $100K Christmas lights budget and $100K a year in lighting budget?
You're going to need a 30-foot Santa to get on that street.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that street. For those that don't know. Yeah, for those that don't know, you actually get a letter from the neighbors, and like some of the neighbors will come and greet you, and like super friendly street, but they'll come and tell you like, yeah, you're expected to, participate in our Christmas activities.
Don't expect to leave your house in December.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I guess for next week we'll have the numbers on that listing on Taffy, and we'll also have the numbers on Oxford.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
And I'll have more numbers. I'm going to keep rolling with this because I think it's good for everybody to see and prepare better for if they're waiting for spring, if they're waiting to list, if they're waiting to buy, whatever it looks like. Everybody just needs to come up with a plan and see what happens, because the only thing, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, the only thing that I can see right now for the foreseeable future until like I said, the rates go to a place where like it collapses, which is not going to happen exactly. The only way to slow it down is for the buyers to cap out their price, but that's can't really happen because you're always going to have that 1 or 2 people that they're not going to care what they're spending until they have to care, I guess.
But so the comparison is that Ottawa has a higher median household income than Toronto and Vancouver.
Right.
So look at the prices in Vancouver. Look at the prices yes, you've got a lot of international buyers in Vancouver. Don't get me wrong. Same as Toronto, but we have a higher household income than both of those major cities. And you're getting a bachelor condo for $700,000 in Toronto. 600 square foot in St. Lawrence Market, you're getting a bachelor for $700K. So like there is room for Ottawa to go. It's just that we're not used to it, and we're getting more used to it because this is like a couple of years of the same sort of pricing and slowly increasing. But and
the population, like they still plan to intensify Ottawa, right? So they're if they can get buildings on the ground, the plan is to increase the foothold and also the amount of homes in Ottawa, which should potentially balance out the market. But it's a matter of, is there going to be more people here first or more homes? And it certainly looks like there's going to be more people than homes in the foreseeable future. So that's just going to keep driving prices up and up.
And then forward down the line, I know it's kind of like a running joke in Ottawa, but the LRT will continue to expand. Those lines that are being run east to west and south are going to be finished over the next year. I think it is. The south line to the airport will be done, hitting all south end all the way down. And then you're going to have the east and west over the next, I think it's 2 years from now or something like that. That's just going to expand communities in Orleans and Rockland, and because it'll be that commuter being able to reach those. So I think that also brings, when you have a full transit system like that, rail, it does bring in other outside eyes from international cities or
we're on track. Also. We're on track.
Yeah.
So Ottawa, did Ottawa have the most immigration last year out of all cities in Canada?
I know Ontario.
Does anyone know that stat? Ontario did, right?
Carleton Place was the quickest growing city in all of Canada at 4%.
CP.
3.7% or 3.8%. Yeah, pretty nuts.
Oh, man.
I heard also recently that the light rail, there's talk now because of everyone working from home and so on, that it might actually stop at Moody, because Moody's kind of the last stop they're putting together right now, west. And they're talking of no longer continuing with that phase 3 or phase 4, whatever the next phase is, because there's not as many people going to the downtown core and so on. So they're debating if they should maybe reallocate that money.
I think they need to look at, a lot of times they look at the here and now and not 20 years from now of what people will be doing. And so I think that's where they need to look at.
Canada's Ottawa's notorious for that.
Yeah.
Ottawa's notorious for that. Bad planning.
You mean reacting instead of being proactive?
Yeah.
Correct.
I think that's the whole country.
Yeah. Canada.
Should we slide into the mood boost, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I got to redeem myself. Last week was something. Okay, so I got 4 to 5. We'll see how the first couple hit. So Bill walked to the fridge for a snack, knocks on the fridge door, and his wife says, "Why'd you knock on the fridge door?" Bill replies, "In case there's a salad dressing." Okay, number 2. Which bird has the worst manners? A mockingbird.
Wow.
A mockingbird.
Yeah.
I like that.
Becoming a vegetarian is one big mistake.
It's good.
And last but not least, a friend asked me, "Are you free tomorrow?" I said, "No, I'm expensive. Sorry."
I'm expensive. I like that one. Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Those are good. A couple of them were good. You're redeeming yourself. You're on the upward trajectory.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to hit up my aunt again. I'm gonna have to hit up my aunt for a couple bangers. Everyone who is listening, if it's still snowing when you're listening to this, Godspeed. There's got to be at least 20 centimeters outside. I can barely see out my window. I wish. Oh yeah, I could. I have my barbecue outside has like a good 2 feet on it of snow. Anyways, thank you everyone for bearing with us as we ramble. Thanks to our producer Stephen Hopkins. If you guys need any, if you have production needs,
if you need anything.
Steven's got you. As always, shout out to North Brew. Go to northbrew.ca, Northbrew Coffee, northbrew.ca. Use the promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off all of your coffee orders. And 20% of your order also goes to Ottawa housing projects, correct, Greg? Yeah. Ottawa homeless housing projects. So yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We record once a week. We release these on YouTube and podcast platforms. 10 a.m. every Tuesday. Anywhere you want to see us, we're there. Yeah. Thanks again, though, to everyone listening. If you're listening right now, feel free to leave us a review. We would love that and appreciate it. And gentlemen, any closing remarks this week?
No, just amazing. Here we go again. January 2022.
To the moon.
Let's get ready.
And vote. Do your civic duty and vote for Torum.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
All right.
Have a great week, everyone. See you soon.
See ya.
The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Referral Mortgages, Blue Panda Realty, and Stephen Hopkins Video. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you.